Hi, welcome to reading two of the book Watchers by the author Dean Koontz. If you saw the first and maybe have forgotten where we had left off, basically, our main character, Travis Cornell, had woken up early in the morning and had driven out to the mountains in the California and was going for a hike in a valley that he was very familiar with. And he was walking along a deer trail descending into a valley, and all of a sudden, a golden retriever had run up on him, and they had some altercations. A dog was trying to warn him of something, and I think the last few words that I read in read one was, "Nevertheless, the creature was coming very fast, very fast." For the first time, Travis sensed that he was in grave peril. He knew that nothing in the woods was big or bold enough to attack him, but his intellect was overruled by instinct. His heart was hammered. Above him on the higher path, the retriever had become aware of his hesitation, and it barked. Decades ago, might have he might have thought an enraged black bear was raging up on the deer trail, driven by mad disease or pain. But the cabin dwellers and the weekend hikers, outriders of civilization, had pushed the few remaining bears much further back into the Santa Ana Mountains. From the sound of it, the unknown beast was within seconds of reaching the clearing between the lower and the higher trails. The length of Travis's spine shivers tracked like melting bits of sleet trickling down a window pane. He wanted to see what the thing was, but at the same time he had gone cold with dread, a truly instinctive fear. Further up the canyon, the golden retriever barked urgently. Travis turned and ran. He was in excellent shape, not a pound overweight. With the panting retriever leading, Travis tucked his arms close to his sides and sprinted up the deer trail, ducking under a few lowing, hanging branches. The studded soles of his hiking boots gave good traction. He slipped on loose stones and pine needles. Fear pried into him, touching a deep and primitive level where nothing had ever reached him before. As he ran, he broke out in goose flesh and cold sweat, and he did not know why the unknown pursuer should fill him with such absolute horror. He did not look back. Initially, he did not want to turn his eyes away from the twisting trail because he was afraid he would crash into a low branch. But as he ran, his panic swelled, and by the time he had gone a couple hundred yards, the reason he did not look back was because he was afraid of what he would see. He knew that his response was irrational. The prickly sensation along the back of his neck and the iciness in his gut were symptoms of a purely superstitious terror. But the civilized and cultured and educated Travis had turned over the reins to the frightened child saving that lives inside every human being, the genetic ghost of what we once were, and he could not easily regain control, even though he was aware of the absurdity of his behavior. Brute instinct ruled, and instinct told him that he must run, stop thinking, and just run. Near the head of the canyon, the trail turned left, carved a winding course up the steep north wall toward the ridge. Travis rounded a bend, saw a log lying across the path, jumped, but caught one foot on the rotting wood. He fell forward, flat on his chest. Stunned, he could not get his breath. He could not move. He expected something to pounce on him and tear out his throat. The retriever dashed back down the trail and leaped over Travis, landing sure-footedly on the path behind him. It barked ferociously, whatever was chasing them, much more threateningly than when it had challenged Travis in the clearing. Travis rolled over and sat up, gasping. He saw nothing on the trail below. Then he realized the retriever was not concerned about anything in that direction, but was standing sideways on the trail, facing the underbrush in the forest to the east of them. Spraying saliva, it barked stridently, so hard and loud that each explosive sound hurt Travis's ears. The tone of the savage fury in his voice was daunting. The dog was warning the unseen enemy to stay back. Easy, boy, Travis said. Easy. The retriever stopped barking but did not glance at Travis. It stared intently into the brush, peeling its pebbly black lips off its teeth and growling deep in the Still breathing hard, Travis got to his feet and looked east into the woods. Evergreens, sycamores, and a few larches. Shadows like swatches of dark cloth were fastened here and there by the golden pines and needles of light. Brush, briars, climbing vines, a few well-worn tooth-like formations of rock. He saw nothing out of the ordinary. When he reached downward and put a hand upon the dog's head, the retriever stopped growling, as if it understood his intention. Travis drew a breath, held it, and listened for a moment in the brush. The cicadas remained silent. No birds sang in the trees. The woods were as still as if the vast, elaborate clockwork mechanism of the universe had stopped ticking. He was sure that he was not the cause of the abrupt silence. His passage through the canyon had not previously disturbed either birds or cicadas. Something was out there, an intruder of which the ordinary forest creatures clearly did not approve.